I'd like to welcome Diane Moss, the Managing Director for Project New Village. And her talk today is called Cultivating Food Sovereignty Through Neighborhood-Led Solutions. Please give her a huge round of applause as she joins the stage.
So I think that we're in a landscape of lots of different opinions and voices around food. Some of those come from the public and the private sector. My voice here today is from the marginalized community, or the communities that are underserviced, and it's been this way for a long time. I want to talk to you about what it is that we're doing to make things better where we live. It's not letting anybody off the hook, so if you represent government or a corporation, there's work to do together. I'm going to describe what I think our part is. And the our here are the people who live in the neighborhood where I live, and the professional people from a cross-sector group of people who work with us to make community change. All right. Sovereignty to me means that you are playing an active role in changing or taking agency for your space. If food is essential to having a quality life, I don't want to have to move to get good food. I want it where I live. If our address or the zip codes where we live have anything to do with the quality of life, I want to have the best experiences without getting in a car and having to move there. Here, I work in southeastern San Diego, and the initiative that we have is what we call, and we've coined, the Good Food District. It's a regenerative placemaking effort where the first thing that we look at is equity and justice first. Second would be people and place-making initiatives, or place-based initiatives, if you will. We employ a market strategy or market-based strategies so that we can produce inclusive and sustainable economic projects in our neighborhood. It's real clear that all the initiatives need to be led by those who live there, and we need to provide opportunities for those people then to own or have ownership in a process of how they get their food or access to food. There's a network of folks that adhere to these principles, and we call ourselves the Equitable Food-Oriented Development, and it's all across this nation where we live. There's a lot of horrible stuff happening, but a lot of good stuff is happening too. I want to tell you what we're doing, particularly in our neighborhood. If we look at a food system, there are parts, and we're trying to impact all parts where we live. So the production piece of things, what we're doing is, we might not have the assets and the infrastructure we need to do some things, but some of us own our homes, which means we have land where we live. And where we have land, we can grow things. So we're cultivating a network of backyard growers. Right now we have about 12. We also are putting other growing spaces, partnering with other partners like high schools that have culinary programs. Our office is in a mixed-use development where there's houses on top or people live in apartments on top, but there's gardening space and we're working with kids to grow food. There's private property that we are taking and trying to buy, if you will, and with this property we're making growing spaces. And lastly, we are working with the church, Seventh-day Adventists in our neighborhood. So before this year is out, we'll have 4 other growing spaces. The other 2 that are in the pipeline involve the city of San Diego and taking a public park and putting a community garden there where we can grow food together. There's a housing complex coming up for seniors, but it's across the street from a school, so we're putting in an intergenerational growing space. The reason we're growing food because the next level of programming is distribution, right? We have one of the only, I guess, mobile food markets in our neighborhood, or in our city, or in our county. We're bringing local food to our neighbors 8 times a week. And with this food, 25% of it is from these hyper-local neighbors we have. The next level, what we will do is put a grocery store in our neighborhood. We bought some property. We're going to change that property into a food hub. And in this food hub, what we want to do is have our own grocery store, sourced by our own growers. We want eateries there that are healthy because right now we don't have many of those in my neighborhood. I have to go a long way to get homemade soup. But we can bring this to our neighborhood, and all this rests on community engagement. I work with my neighbors on every project that we do, and it is all to benefit those who live there, not only in the consumption of good food and hopefully better health, but also the economy that we live in and circulating, if you will, the dollars that we spend in our neighborhood. So we are ready to work with others that don't live there so that we can change the situation in our neighborhood, eat better, feel better, and maybe participate more in this, democratic process we have. Maybe I can concentrate more on political kind of things if I'm well fed. Thank you for your attention today.